Hometowns, the place we all wish we didn't come from. Let's face it, your hometown is inherently embarrassing. Either your hometown is full of poor yokels that you don't associate with politically or intellectually, or your hometown is full of rich assholes who you don't associate with intellectually or politically. Also, it would ruin that liberal self-made image you have to your friends in Brooklyn if they found out that your dad is a CFO of Tyson Foods, but you know, we're all living a lie, so don't even worry about it. Well, the holidays are coming up, and that brings with it the mass migration of 20-something-year-olds who move to the big city for a sense of purpose, and also to create a wide geographical gap between themselves and their Uncle Ricky, who has a little bit too much to say about the Rothschild. But there's something about going back to your hometown that is equal parts comforting as it is depressing. A feeling so indescribable that someone would have to spend the next 8 to 11 minutes just breaking down the complexities of such an emotion. I'm also gonna talk shit for the majority of this video. To begin, I want to start with the heart of any dogshit small town, which is, of course, the people. Whether it be that old lady who's been behind the counter at your local Packy for as long as you can remember, or that small town cop that has busted generations of men in your family for underage drinking, every town has the people that adds a little spice to the local culture. So here are the people in your hometowns that you will have to deal with when you go home for the holiday. Number 1, we have Todd. Oh my god, dude. Jesus Christ, what are you doing? Todd is the fella in your hometown who peaked in high school, and he's gonna make that your issue. God forbid you go to the local watering hole and leave an empty bar stool next to you, because that means there's alarms going off in Todd's living room letting him know that there's an ear to talk off within a 5-mile radius. Anytime you tell a story about your life or something that's happened recently, he somehow finds a way to relate that back to high school, which is such a bummer. And if you don't know, almost every high school story is a you had to be there story. So he speaks exclusively in that language, and he still drinks like a fish like it's cool, but it's really not cool anymore once you can't hold a job down due to your alcoholism. And he goes to every high school football game, even though he definitely doesn't have a kid on the roster. You know Matthew McConaughey in Dazed and Confused? Well, he's Matthew McConaughey in Dazed and Confused, except for the fact that he doesn't look like Matthew McConaughey. He looks like this, and he smells like the container the rotisserie chicken came in. Number 2, we got Bobby. Oh boy, do we have Bobby. Bobby is the person in your hometown that you never want to hang out with, yet somehow, every time you go home, you end up hanging out with him. He's your friend from high school that never left the homeland, and he's been working the same job since 2014. And there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people take that path, but the problem is he is still mentally stuck in 2014. He still casually uses slurs in conversation, and he says things like, oh, here comes Mr. College. Like as if that's a negative. He'll constantly refer to the fact that you've changed a lot since high school, as if that's not an extremely normal thing. If you want to get a strong feeling for Bobby, go listen to New Perspective by Noah Kahn and just, you know, feel the sadness that comes with a character like this. Next up, we have Eric. Fuck, dude. Remember Eric? God, that kid was so cool. Eric is the guy when you go home you do want to hang out with, but somehow, you know, he's just always busy, which is fine. I mean, he only comes home every so often, so I get he wants to spend time with the family, but you know, if you could find some time in between visits, it would be nice to see you. You'd probably consider Eric to be one of your best friends. I mean, honestly, he'd probably be in your wedding party if you ever got married, despite the fact that, you know, you haven't seen him in a good amount of time. But that's Eric, dude. I mean, goddamn, he's always on to bigger and better things. Remember that time in high school when Eric took Mr. Laborde's shoes, and then, oh my god, am I Bobby? And then we have Michelle, who's fine. I don't have a problem with Michelle, she's fine. Michelle is just that one motherfucker who has done everything right. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, I don't know what happened. You were on pretty equal footing back in high school with Michelle. You both did the same shit pretty good. Both got good grades, both had a, you know, decent social life, both went to good colleges. But then somehow after college, when the dust settled, suddenly she has an amazing job and a husband. And she's starting to have a kid in a house? What are you, 27? You're a kid. We're both still children. What are you doing? Slow down. We shouldn't have our lives together like that, Michelle, at this point, right? Am I fucking up? Because you're fucking me up. And last but not least, we have Sarah. Fuck Sarah. Fuck her. Sarah is the girl who was the hottest in her high school class, and she never left her hometown because she did not want to leave that feeling. I wouldn't either, but you know, you gotta move on at one point. She probably works in, you know, nursing or mental health, even though she bullied people to the brink of suicide in high school. And even though you are 10 times the person you were in high school, when you talk to her, she still finds a way to make you feel like a dumb little nerd who doesn't have any social skills. It's like a superpower. It's like a CIA trick. The clock's running out. You know, people are starting to pay less attention to her, and she's getting nervous because she hasn't really settled down yet, and that's fun to watch for me. I mean, the stories of her setting her ex-boyfriend's mailbox on fire are starting to boil up, and you know, this isn't a real person. I want to make that clear. Now that we've covered all the local wildlife, let's start talking about where they dwell. Every point of origin has these weird, random places that hold a lot of significance to the town people. It doesn't usually have rhyme or reason to it, but it does usually come from teens who need a place to hang out, and they pass that place down to other teens, and then it's just generations of degenerates. So let's talk about the specific places in your hometown that everyone likes to hang out at, and it's kind of sad a little bit. Number 1, let's go with the spot in the woods where you blacked out a couple times. It's usually a random area about a half mile past the tree line with some like logs you can sit on, or it could be a secluded field, or even even a random sand pit that was created for a housing project that was abandoned due to the 2008 recession. That was mine. That was my place to hang out in. This place is in the sweet spot where you're not gonna get caught underage drinking, but you're close enough to adults where you can get help if you actually need it. It also always has some vague element of danger nearby. Not intentionally, but for some reason, drunk teens are drawn to large bodies of water like a quickly moving river or a giant lake. And someone at one point will die there due to those factors, but you weren't hanging out that night, so the cops won't come to your door, so you're golden. Number two, and this one will definitely, you know, weed out what kind of social class you were in, but I'm gonna talk about the big store. Who doesn't love the big store? Whether it's Target, Walmart, Market Basket, even like a big enough Walgreens, it's just gotta be a big store, and it's fucking sick to hang out in. Just an epicenter of community where you can mill about and no one's gonna really bother you when you're younger. Just walk around talking to your homies, looking at shit to buy. You can get some snacks for the sleepover later. It's just a good time. And at one point, you'll probably end up working at Big Store. Big Store is giver. Big Store supplies the economy. Big Store keeps us safe. Don't worry about small store closing because Big Store has better prices. Big Store keeps us safe. Big Store is a provider. Don't resist Big Store. Number three, we have your friend's basement. Oh my God, so much shit happened in this basement. Holy hell. This was the basement of your friend that, now that you think about it, had pretty absentee parents, but it worked out in your favor. Not great for the kid themselves, but it was a great place for you and your graduating class to learn about the human body, both yourselves and others. The basement is still horribly stained and smells funny from all the spilled beer and bodily fluids that were sprayed all over the walls. But my God, the nights of your life were in that basement, and you respect the shit out of it. And honestly, let's all pause and reflect on what we gained from the neglectful parents of that basement. And last but not least, we have the derelict mall. Truly the visual representation of societal rot.
Hey gang, it's me, Big Tugg. So a little aside I have to make. For the rest of this video, I noticed in the editing booth that my fly is suddenly down. You'll notice it in the next scene, and it doesn't get fixed for the rest of the video. I don't know how this happened. I didn't go pee. I didn't do anything. I watched the footage, and I didn't do anything. I don't know how my fucking fly's down. So enjoy that, I guess.
Personally, my local mall is now a hospital, which is ironic because that's the first place I got jumped. I keep getting jumped. I don't know what that's all about. In its heyday, your parents used to drop you off, you had 40 bucks in your pocket, and you just run amok. You'd spend most of your time eating in the food court or squinting your way through a dark Abercrombie & Fitch, or maybe even, you know, perusing the dildos at Spencer's Gifts. Why were those in there? And now it's just a boarded up memory of what once was, with some stores clinging to life and an Auntie Anne's that is really holding it together. They're really doing well still. I don't know how that's possible. We miss the mall for what it was and what it did for us, but God forbid at this point in my life I have to leave my house to buy a pair of jeans. I'm shopping online. I don't give a shit. Godspeed. Now that I have thoroughly shit-talked hometowns, I want to talk about the things that hometowns provide for us, because there's still some good things about them. I mean, it's not all roses and daisies. You're not going to find a Sweet Green or a local roastery, but there's still some things about hometowns that are, you know, slightly beneficial. So here are technically the good things about visiting your hometown. Number one, you don't have to get dressed up. You don't have to put on airs for anybody. You're in Spencer, Massachusetts. They have a Dairy Queen, but that's pretty much it. If you live in a big city and you go to the local store in pajama pants and a hoodie, people are either going to assume you're homeless or depressed. Or both. But in a small town, who gives a fuck, dude? Wear whatever you want. Honestly, it's the opposite problem. If I wore something snazzy to my local Cumberland Farms, people would yell slurs at me. They'd ask me if I was going to the fairy convention, and that's just local culture. Number two, everything is so cheap that it seems like a scam. It seems like someone's stealing from me. I mean, compared to the cities I've lived in, Chicago, New York, a pack of cigarettes, if it's under $20, I gasp. I don't even smoke cigarettes, I just like comparing the prices. I mean, Ubers are so much cheaper. You could drive from Worcester to Boston in an Uber, it'd be like 40 bucks. That's probably not true, but it's a lot cheaper than New York City. Number three, you can wave to people from your car and they will wave back and not assume you're a crazy person. That's dope as shit. In the city, if you wave at a stranger, they'll assume you have a knife and mace you, and I don't blame them. Don't trust anyone in the city. They're all evil. But if you see someone in the suburbs and you wave at them, they'll wave back. That's fucking crazy, dude. I appreciate the shit out of that. Number four, the holiday house decorations go hard. And that's obviously a thing I'm thinking about because it's seasonal when I film this video. You could be watching this in August, I don't know. But right now I'm thinking about the Christmas lights, and they are dope in suburbs. I mean, yeah, big cities put on a little show, but like, it's not gonna touch Mrs. Mayweather's fucking celebration of life with those lights. The things people do in small towns with their lights, they set them to their radio, and it does the music. I fucking love looking at Christmas lights. And number five, and what I think is the best thing about small towns, is it's your people. It's the people, it's the people. And I know I was just absolutely shit-talking people in small towns like 5 minutes ago, but just hear me out. Yes, there's always gonna be issues in your small town. That's always gonna happen. Racism, local crime, people you absolutely hate that are still there, crumbling infrastructure. But goddamn, man, no one understands you like the people who raised you and the people surrounding the people who raised you. It's truly a culture, a collection of stereotypes and mentalities that shaped you into the person you are today. And yeah, you might have cherry-picked off the bad shit that you don't want in your life, but the kernel of you still lies within the pavement cracks of your hometown. The hometown is where you should be every once in a while. You should visit there. And also, the people where you come from say words like you say. Like, they don't make fun of you for saying pecan instead of pecan. So that's nice. New videos every Saturday. Show this video to your mom if you need to explain to her why you don't visit that often.